Welcome to the first episode of the Trails of Transformation podcast. My guest today, Garret Jacobs, is the inspiration for this podcast's inception. I was in his yoga class laying in Shavasana when I was overcome with gratitude for the yoga studio, Sweaty Buddha in Durango, Colorado, the community in Garret. I'm traveling through the United States, and it's quite interesting how a yoga studio is what's anchoring me to the town of Durango. I do feel a strong spiritual connection to the town, and I also feel a connection to Garret's spirit. I was really inspired by the way that he poured his heart into his packed out classes. I saw leadership qualities within Garret and admired the way that he showed up for the people in his community. As I immersed into the community of Durango, many people asked if I had been to Garret's class yet. They spoke highly of him and the impact that he's made on their lives. There's definitely something about Garret's energy and passion that piqued my curiosity to find out more about his story, about his journey and path, and his vision of the future. I asked him for some time to honor him and to explore some vulnerable areas of truth. This conversation was spirit-led, and I truly believe that the words spoken were from the heart. I believe that God led me to Garret, and I feel that this conversation is part of the purpose of our coming together. In Jesus' name, I pray that anyone guided to these spoken words feel comfort knowing that you're not alone, that you feel joyful hope as you navigate transformation and change in your lives, inspiration to lean into the Holy Spirit, and curiosity to know your Heavenly Father, and that you feel love and peace in whatever season of life that you're in. Amen. I hope you enjoy the conversation. Tell me about the space that we're in. It was important to me whenever I asked you for your time. I wanted to come to a spot that was important to you, that you felt that heart resonance. And so tell me about this place, why we're here, and what it means to you.
Sure. What I understand, this is called Nat's Kiva. Nat was a girl who's a friend of mine's sister, who died unexpectedly, and his father built this in commemoration of her, and it has been a place of sacredness and really powerful medicine ever since he constructed it. It has been visited by so many people, had so many ceremonies. I've had so many ceremonies in the spot myself, with a lot of powerful individuals. And obviously it overlooks beautiful San Juan and La Plata Mountains. And I love this direction, straight down the valley.
Due north.
Those beautiful colors that are popping.
Man.
I mean, clearly there's so many spots that we could have been.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there could have been a better one though. Like, just from the reasons that we stated with the masculine and feminine energies, the structure and the creativity and the nature and the love, heart rock above, below, and the God energy above.
Mm-hmm.
What a beautiful spot.
It is.
So, yeah, I'm really glad that you didn't know about it, and now you do.
Yeah. This was the perfect place for us to have this conversation, and I appreciate you sharing it with me.
And I'm good.
Tell me about the revelation.
I was actually just talking to my daughter's mom about this the other day, and how actually it was this morning, and how felt like it was going to be really hard to describe to anybody, especially for me, since I've never really experienced it before, nor did I ever think that it was going to happen. I had a flash of the Holy Spirit coming through me in a way that has been only portrayed in like movies and books and things like that. And it was at the least possible, like the least,
like suspecting.
Exactly, at the least suspecting time. And it was after an argument. I am divorced, but I am co-parenting with my daughter's mom, and we are working on creating a different kind of relationship. Mm-hmm. And it's been a beautiful ride. It's been a challenging ride, but the things that brought the divorce to the forefront are still prevalent. You know what I mean? So there's still arguments, there's still disagreements and discrepancies and things like that. In this one particular moment, which happened on October 1st, this month, Allie is her name, was getting on my nerves. There was a sense of that we were just, really butting heads and everything like that, and it just made me angry and resentful. Mm-hmm. And so I went downstairs. It was early in the morning, and I went downstairs to go get ready for work. And I'm just like, man, I'm just blah blah blah. Like, she's so wrong. I can't believe that. Like, I'm in this space, blah blah blah, and I'm holding all this resentment. And I'm like, and then at the moment, I'm like, okay, I am, I'm going back to church right now, and God desires me to be a better person to this person that, even though I'm divorced right now, I still committed myself to. Mm-hmm. Like, in such a loving way that God desires me to do that, to be still loyal and kind and respectful to her, and then thus my daughter, and then thus everybody else involved with that. And at that moment, I got just flooded with this, like, God coming back into my life and back into my heart. And he's been like, I've been here the whole time waiting for you to come to that realization. Mm-hmm. And I just busted down. And I just fell to my knees, and I'm like, I've been waiting for this moment, like, my entire adult life. Mm-hmm. And it came to me in the least suspecting, most incomprehensible time. And here I am. And now I'm trying to just figure out what to do with all of it. Mm-hmm. So it's a really powerful moment. And it has also led to a lot of redirections in life lately. Yeah. So here we are. And that's how we start this off, I suppose.
Man, just tell me about the emotions that you were, like, having this overwhelming knowing, and just God touch your heart. Mm-hmm. What was, because it sounds like you were in a state of trigger, from the deep conversation trigger that you had just had.
Deep trigger.
And, tell me about was there a change? What transformed? Was it, like, instantaneous? Like, what was the inner state like?
It was pretty instantaneous. And the way that I really dropped into it all is that I am drawn to, especially men, mm-hmm. of leadership. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And when I can meet a man and respect him, then, like, he becomes like a peer to me. He becomes like a mentor to me. And then I could choose to either develop that or just, like, appreciate him and then, like, move on. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I felt that mentorship that God was feeling, that he was dropping into me. He's like, yeah, this is, like, if you want to, like, learn from me, if you want to follow my teachings, if you want to, like, actually have me as somebody who's going to lead you to your higher calling, to your leadership, to your ability to be a better father, to be a better mentor in the community, then, like, yeah, I'm going to demand a lot from you. Mm-hmm. I'm going to demand a lot of respect as well as discipline mm-hmm. from you to be a disciple of mine. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to give whatever you want from me, like, whatever you want within the capacity that I have to give you at that moment, I'm going to give it to you. And I heard it so clearly. And in context, I was walking through the spiritualist desert for an entire year before that. And I was so lost and so out of it. And I was just calling out every time, like, not even to God, like not even to any sort of spiritual leaders. I'm just like, anybody that can hear me, whether you're a guide, guardian, angel, God, Buddha, whatever, just like somebody just help me. Yeah, crickets the whole time. And so I was sad, I was depressed, suicidal at times. And so I was just hungering for it, and it wasn't coming to me. So at that moment, this instantaneous flooding through me, like I can't describe it, but it was instantaneous, and it switched everything at a moment. I'm like, so that's how it's gonna go now? Okay, all right. So just show me what's next.
Yeah,
guide me to what's next. So it's a huge moment for me right now.
Oh, man, it just sounds like in that moment you were surrounded in love. You know, there was this like love and peace and knowing, like direction.
Direction, exactly. Direction. That's the best way to put it. It's like, finally, okay, a direction. And then a man that I really respect gave me this metaphor. He's like, sometimes when we're dropped in the middle of the forest, we're like, God, show me the path. Like, show me which way you want to go. Just illuminate all those trees in the direction that you want me to go. And then God lights up one tree. He's like, go there, stay there. And then I'll show you another way when you're ready. And you're just like, oh, okay. Just that one right there? Not like the entire path? You just, okay. Oh, yeah, I'll just go right there.
I love that metaphor because I get wrapped up in that. Like, I want show me my path, show me all of the answers, how to get there. And it's a lot of times what's being, I feel like, asked of me in those instances is getting from point A to point B. It's one action. It's one step. It might be one thing that God puts on my heart. And it's, can I flex that obedience and do what's asked, no matter how uncomfortable or how small it may be? It's just putting a series of those small steps together that before you know it, it's like, I'm walking this path, you know, and it's, I found that in my life, that's how God is operating. It isn't this, yes, there have been these big visions and projects, but God gives us choice as well on which direction we're going to go, and might illuminate a whole band of trees. And it's up to us to feel into our discernment and walk that path and be like, what feels, as I've dialed in my filtration system according to, you know, the Bible and from my relationship with God, how is this manifesting in the next thing and the next thing? And before you know it, you're walking the path.
Totally. And I love the word obedience that you use, because I have not been obedient to much of anything. I've done my best to go against the grain and make my own rules and try to make my life work under my own rules. And with trying to make things up with my own rules, I've been all over the map, you know? I've been trying to drop into so many different kinds of enlightenments and structures for my life. And albeit great practice to like be, you know, go outside the box and expand your horizons. And I learned so much, made so many beautiful connections, and it still left me unfulfilled after I felt like I learned to a point of where I learned everything that I could. And then I'm like, all right, what now? What now? And then I just drop back into the desert, you know, and start wandering again.
Yeah.
So,
is there an example that comes to mind in terms of like how that process has looked
Certainly. So, I was in, when I was in my Christian faith before, it was beautiful. And I was getting connections, and I was learning, and I was experiencing what it meant to be a follower of God. And I started to get shaken up in that, because I would learn a lot, and then I would try to implement it, and then everything would change in my life, and then I would forget about prayer, and I would forget about my faith, and I would try to do things my way again. Okay, so when I started to fall out of the Christian church, again, like for actually like the first time, then I went into yoga. I followed the spiritual teachings. I followed Buddhism, and started to learn all those practices and implement those into my life. And I love teaching yoga. It's one of my favorite things to do. I love being a leader in the community, and I love bringing a spiritual aspect to others from my center. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So once I really rooted down into yoga and started learning everything there, then I transferred that into Tantra. So then I went into really learning about Tantra for 5 years. I've been on that Tantra journey, which is actually the last journey that I was on before I shifted back into Christianity and spirituality. So then I started to learn about my body, and how my body is the temple, and how everything that I need is within me. And then my higher power is accessible through the body. So like, that's how I was using to find God, is through my body. And that was a really powerful ride. And I really got to learn how to use energy more, and the power of someone else's body. Mm-hmm. And that was just a really, really beautiful and powerful experience. Mm-hmm. But once I felt there was so much more to learn, but at that moment I felt like I learned to my capacity, because my body is very empathic. It's very nervous system based. So I felt like I was at the top. I couldn't get poured into anymore. And that didn't mean that I learned everything. It meant that like my body had a capacity that was it, you know? And so once I stopped being in that space, then I dropped back into the desert. It did not fulfill me. And I wouldn't say it did not fulfill me. Like, I was at the top, and I was like now searching again. Mm-hmm. Okay. So now that I'm searching again, I really had to go through that point of like lack and aloneness, and what are the things that I'm trying to grasp at that are going to fill that, that are trying to fill that for me, you know? So I was grasping at a lot of things. I went sober. I gave up drugs. I gave up. Those two things were huge for me to go into. I've been sober for 4 years, and I got a lot of my spirituality and creativity from expanding into those areas. You know, I was on medicine journeys for a few years, consistent medicine journeys. And that blew me wide open. And so then I'm like, okay, what's on the other side of that? Where is that? Where do I go with that? Mm-hmm. And that leads me to right here onto this next journey, which I am open to seeing what wants to be unfolded for me next. Mm-hmm. So
it seems like you've explored these bits and pieces, and do you feel as if what you've explored in Tantra and in the medicine journeys are pivotal for the path that you're walking? And now that you are reemerging in your relationship with Christ and walking that path, how do those pieces fit into the approach that you're having now? Do they have a role to play? Do you feel like you've experienced those things for a reason?
I absolutely do. I absolutely do. And I know that like it's clearly not for everybody, but it was for me. My body is very receptive to experiences like that. And I felt like every single teaching in Tantra or every medicine journey I went on to, I can remember every one of them. You know, each one of them was tangible that I could like put into practice in my life if I wanted to or if I needed to do that. And I feel like it's very, very, very integral to the experience that I had right now because like with the medicine journeys, like I can treat like a spiritual awakening as like my receptors blowing up in my mind, you know, like going on those medicine journeys. Like it feels very similar to that. Like I can tap into this higher version of myself because I went on those journeys. I'm not on those journeys anymore, but I do feel like those are extremely important for like where I am at right now. Would I ever go back to those? I'm not entirely sure I would because I'm on this journey right now. And like, I'm not saying that purity is where I want to be going. It's like not the word that I want to be using for it, but like more clear, like with a deeper clarity of like, what's my anchor right now?
For sure.
Is very important.
Yeah. To help you discern the next step, that next tree being illuminated. And I relate to your story so much, man. It's like taking all of these branches of like my curiosity has led me down many different paths and absorbing the information from an energetic standpoint of like my body. And I think that was pivotal for me to be able to learn, you know, how my body is feeling, how my body is internally relating to the external and that relationship, and viewing things specifically from an energetic standpoint has helped me even on my spiritual path to identify the spiritual energy that I feel in nature. And nature's my church, you know, and
hence why we're here right now.
My gosh,
you know, it's like tapping into all of it and being able to drop in. That's like my medicine journeys were pivotal for me to like appreciate nature deeper level. It's like, okay, God created this right here. He's the ultimate chemist and put all these ingredients together and gave man the wherewithal to be like, that one might go with this one. What's that going to do? And had to experiment so many times to figure out the right concoctions, because a lot of people had to die before they figured out the right concoctions for like the proper like medicine journeys, you know? So the ability to just have like, man, because I don't know if you would have talked to me a few months ago, if we would have been having the same conversation.
Yeah.
And that's I love that aspect of it all. And it's like, okay, do I really have the knowledge and the wisdom to be able to communicate actually what I'm going through right now? So it's really interesting. And so I'm really grateful for that you are prompting me with this kind of conversation, because I don't think I've really put it into words yet. And so here we are.
Yeah, I felt this like palpable energy going to your just being in the studio and our exchanges that we had. There's this vitality that I feel within you, you know, this light that it's just like this gravitational, and I'm not the only one who can sense it. Like I've spoken to many people in the community who also feel that from you and have been inspired and transformed by how you show up in your classes and how you show up as a man and leader. So you can feel your passion. And so that to me was an indication of like, I recognize this and I respect this, and I'm curious to find out and pull on these threads of where does this passion come from? You know, so let's start there. your passion and how you show up in your yoga class. Like, tell me about what is that? Where does that come from within you? If you can articulate, like,
yeah, that's a channeling. Yeah, that's like, for one, it's comfort in the community. It's like, I know 98% of the people that come in there because they've been doing it for 10 years. And I've grown relationships with them and I feel comfortable. And now that I've practiced a bunch, like I could probably do it in front of 1,000 people. Mm-hmm. It's the inverse that's the challenge for me. Is flip-flopping into like an audience of one. You know what I mean? Is like, I'm like even talking right now, I'm like, am I being fake? Like, do I really mean what I'm saying right here? And I really do feel like there's a deeper part that is more truthful than not coming out of me right now. So the passion, it definitely comes from a channeling. Like that studio, and I say it in class often, is like those walls have so much emotion and energy from the people that have come in it. And it's different than like a normal yoga. For me, this is my interpretation. It's different than a normal yoga studio because we're actually physically exerting out parts of our body into those floors, into those walls, into the ceiling. It's everywhere, you know? And it's not just like, I'm just breathing out my energy, my breath is in these walls. No, like we're physically in like those cracks and crevices in that space. And every time I go in there, I remember that. I'm like, this is thousands of people have come through this and poured their heart and soul into this. Maybe it was just their physical body. Maybe it was deeper emotional, spiritual body, whatever it is. And so like when I'm talking, I really like to invite that part out of there because it can be all physical. We can go all physical if we wanted to. But inviting the mental, spiritual, and emotional part into it, it brings that extra into it. And that's every time I'm going in there, it's something that I'm feeling that day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm feeling joyful and happy and like silly, and I make stupid comments and people laugh or whatever. And then other times I'm crying when you guys are like in Charles Post and nobody can see me. So it's definitely a deeper channeling, and the physical space has a lot to do with that.
Mm-hmm. So how did you stumble across yoga? Like, how did this come on your path and to get you to where you are today?
Synchronicities, just like what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Synchronicities and people that come into your life that guide you along your way. Mine was my former wife that I'm still, best friends with. That she was the one that saw that I needed something else, and she needed something else. So we both did yoga teacher training together 13 years ago, or however long it was. And so she has been an integral part of my journey because of she's just an extremely powerful woman. And I have this way of attracting just powerful women into my life, whether it's in relationships or friendships or just mutual connection, you know, like the wisdom in a woman is sent from God, you know, like any woman that you talk to has more wisdom in their body than I feel like I could ever imagine having my entire life. And so I've had a lot of powerful women that have guided me along my path. You know, my mother, my grandmother, and just a lot of friends and relationships. But in for the yoga training, and specifically, it was her. She was the one that pushed me into that. And I wasn't even thinking about it. You know, I've maybe done yoga a few times in my life and thought it was great for my body or whatever, but she's like, let's do this together. Like, okay. And I was the only man in our yoga teacher training out of like 16 women. And that was powerful in itself. And I'm like, I have something to offer here. You know, like these women are listening to me. They're looking up and looking up to me and seeing like, telling me that they're like, it's, you know, it means a lot for them to see a man in that position. And so I just ran with it, you know, and I it was life-changing. Changed my life.
Was it naturally, did it feel natural to be in that role, or did it take time to feel comfortable in that position?
It felt natural. It felt natural. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely had a lot of guy friends in my life, but I definitely related to women a lot more. You know, I related to women in a larger capacity in my life, and I'm very grateful for that. But that was definitely helpful to have women giving me those affirmations back. Mm-hmm. Even in class, you know, like I have a lot of women that are telling me that what they got out of class or how much they appreciate class or whatever. It's like, okay, I'm still on the right track here. I'm still on the right path. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it feels very natural to be in that space.
I could feel that, man. It's inspiring to see you channeling, because it feels like you're channeling, and your classes have a particular taste, you know, like essence about them. And I mean, you pack out the rooms too, and so it's a tangible essence that's felt, that you create, that you help facilitate in that space. And so there's definitely a gift there. I'm curious, you know, you're speaking about you're able to call in these relationships with powerful women. Like, what is your relationship like? Did you have a stronger relationship with your mother or father? What's your relationship like with your father?
I got a good relationship with my dad. And he has taught me a lot. And there's also a lot that I had, you know, learn on my own. But he was able to give me the space and freedom to do that. He was definitely a strong individual, and with a lot of guidance to it. I actually went into kind of a battle with myself against my parents for not really sticking with church from the very beginning and giving me a solid structural spiritual foundation. Even though they tried, they certainly tried to do that for me. But we dipped out of church at a certain point in my life. And that's when kind of my life went off the rails. You know, I got into drinking and then dating a lot and, you know, just hanging out with the boys and causing lots of chaos. And then I went to college and I drank way too much, hurt a lot of women in relationships emotionally just because I couldn't commit to anything. And I going through that problem still at the moment. You know, this is, but every woman that I have encountered in my life that has come into my life has taught me something. And whether we broke up or not, like I love each and every one of them. And they have each taught me something different about myself that has led me to this moment here. The family aspect, the mother aspect of it all, my mom and dad just gave me a lot of rope. And it's funny to say, I wish they wouldn't have as much. And I had a little bit more structure. So I have an 11-year-old daughter now, and that's what I'm trying to do for her. And I'm like, okay, how can I formulate this for her better? And I really hold myself to a high standard. And then when I'm not meeting it, I really take it hard. You know, women are interesting energy in all areas of my life right now. And I'm really trying to dial in what it all means to be a good man, a responsible masculine in this world, and responsible with my body, responsible with my heart, responsible with their heart. It doesn't matter who it is. Like, how can I show up as the best version of myself, the best man for, you know, to like reflect as men as a whole, you know, so I can mirror that to the women in my life. It's a tall order, man.
It is. But I think there's a level of what's being reflected to you and how the responsiveness that you get from class and reflecting back what you just spoke about in terms of you holding the space, holding the container for the yoga, like for the classes. It's women can feel that structure and the energy that you're holding. And I've perceived since, I've been in your energy, you're very in your masculine and, but also tapped into this ability to relate to the feminine in terms of, and I think that's what is being asked of us as men today, to evolve and to be aware of the responsibility that we have from an emotional standpoint and our impact, and navigate what we're feeling and be able to communicate that and stay steadfast. Not that we have to be strong always. Like, I think it's important for us to be vulnerable and express like our areas of discomfort or weakness or what we're struggling with. But I think it's being reflected back that you're on the right, you've got the right recipe, and it's inspirational, I think. And what I feel is part of your leadership quality is because of how you are showing up as a man in the community.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's such a hot topic right now. What it means to be a man, because it has changed and evolved from when it was, 20 years ago, 50 years ago, however long, and maybe it's because it's a constant changing. It's a constant evolution of what a man means to be. Maybe back in like the early 19th century, it was like a man was strictly for farming and providing for his family. And then as we move forward, then it was a man of war. And then we move forward as a man of provision to the family. And then we kind of got mixed signals along the way. And like I talked to a lot of men that were just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing now. Like, I don't know what the right thing is. And so I'm trying myself, and I'm not even going to impose my opinions on other men right now. Is like, I'm trying not to be one that like shields back, doesn't do anything because I'm afraid of fucking it up. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to lean into it instead of out of it. And leaning into it is hard. For sure. It is hard, and it has been painful, and it has led to a lot of roadblocks. So you gotta like, oh, there's a block. I got a block. Okay, going that way now. And it's just like a lot of trial and error. And especially with a daughter, and having her reflect back to me that like, Dad, you suck sometimes. It's like, yeah, I know, I don't mean to suck, but yes, I hear what you're saying, and like not get pissed off at that, but use it as constructive criticism, because when it's coming from a young girl, it's like, there's got to be some truth to that. So I'm trying to find a deeper path, and now coming all the way back to the beginning of the conversation is like using God as my anchor, and trying just to be in, reflect and walk with the teachings and the guidance that has been given to us. And that's just my personal journey. And that's what I'm trying to implement my life a little better with.
Yeah. I respect that.
Thanks.
What vision is most alive for you today in terms of, your dharma, your purpose, your commitments? Like, what does that look like at this moment in time? And it sounds like it might be in transition, but
boy, that's a really good question, and that's something that's also been really active and alive for me. Is that when I started, because I was in coaching for the Tantra world and for like relationships and personal coaching, I really wanted to dive into that and be fully, okay, I want to be a coach because I can talk to people, I can help people. And I've had that reflected back that I was good at that. And I really am like, okay, maybe I could do that. My former partner, Allie, she's a coach, and she's an amazing coach right now. And so we were actually doing that together. So we were coaching together. And then at some point in time, after my last training, I went to Turkey, And I had a big Tantra training out there for 11, 12 days, however long it was. And I came back feeling so lost and depleted that like I felt like the pivotal moment of where I was going to get all this information left me feeling so empty. And so I changed everything around. Okay. I wasn't going to be a coach. I wanted to do something else. And so like I was lost trying to find a new career path because I got out of corporate world that I was in for 10 years that built stability, financial stability and everything, but it just wasn't fulfilling for me. So I left that. And so I was searching again. And so I found this ranch that this older lady needed help at. And so I'm like, oh, I always wanted to work on a ranch, so that would be really cool. And so she hired me on as ranch foreman. And that led me down to this experience of like, I was alone. I'm alone, working by myself all day, every day with nothing but my thoughts and horses to talk to. So that just brought into this, I got so deep in my despair. And then I needed to go there to really see what I wanted to really do with my life. So now it's like that arisen this new idea and desire to be the steward of the land, to be on large swaths of property, to take care of those areas of land, to be a crew leader, to help others, maybe young kids that are coming in and out and being, trying to help mentor or be a boss or whatever that looks like. Being with the animals, learning how to grow and cultivate food, hay for animals. I want to learn how to do that, hay production, and just go backwards. I was so dead set on going forwards and like progression. I need to have this X amount of money in my bank account by 40 or whatever. And that didn't happen. So like I'm trying to restart it in something that lights me up as an individual and as a man. That really helped me drop into a deeper sense of manhood there. That's when I felt that, I'm like, okay, there's something here for me. And so I'm looking to go expand it, learn more, go back to school for agriculture and business on how to learn how to run big ranches and things like that. So I don't know where it's taking me, but that's where it's at right now. That all stemmed from like, I need to get back to being a man. I need to get back to working with my hands, seeing where God wants me to go. And I wasn't even in the God zone yet, but something was calling me into that space because the synchronicities were so easy to follow that I just went for it. So that's where I'm at right now. And I just want to be outside. I want to be on the land. I want to be in the mountains. I want to be by the water, being with animals, and, wherever wants to go from there.
Do you feel as if you've had a soul encounter, like a deepening of that relationship to your soul and what that means authentically, like what you're authentically here to create? And yeah, what is that? Because to me, that's what I'm hearing a little bit, and I just want to know if experienced your essence of soul and what that relationship looks like.
Boy, it sure feels like it's on that journey, having a full connection back to soul, back to source, like tangibly. Maybe not fully yet, but I can see it more clearly than I had been able to before. And I know that being on the land and just being out in the middle of nowhere and looking around and like not seeing anybody or anything and just being able to like breathe and being able to like pray in the middle of a field and just like open on up and like there's something that just totally connects me to the earth and to the sky at the same time and everything around me. And as I've been doing this, I've been getting so many cool interactions with animals lately. Like I have this coyote come in front of me, like just like from here to that step, and he just ran out in front of me and he looked at me, and it was the most beautiful coyote I've ever seen. And the only thing I can think of is like, oh shit, it's trickster energy. Like, okay, what's gonna come out of left field now? And so I started chasing him. I started following him down there, and then he ran off, and I was trying to follow and everything. It was like one of the coolest experiences that I've had in a while. But that coyote energy, which is different than wolf energy, I'm just like, okay, now I need to be on the lookout for anything that's trying to like play with me or like throw me curveballs and things like that. So being able to be more in touch with the land around there and just be more connected to nature is like, it's that soul connection to my body right now. It feels amazing.
Absolutely, man. I relate in terms of, it wasn't until I started backpacking out in nature where it was just primitive, very simple living, and I'm out on my own and being in what I felt to be church, God's creation, and that it was reflecting back to me certain things that would illuminate, and help me really get to know the innermost parts of myself. What was important to me? What was my truest essence? Because as you mentioned, an empath, as an empath and people pleaser, personally, it's been hard.
Oh, that's why we get along?
Yeah. It's been hard to not associate the ways in which I can shift my energy and can absorb that energy and to not mistake it as my own. And so it's required this time period for me to hit the road, get out into nature so that there's a level of purity and clarity within my energetic being so that I can familiarize myself and then discern this is what I feel aligned with. This is what God, like my channel, is more clear and unobstructed by other energetic sources that had maybe taken, up space in my body.
Oh, yeah.
And so being in nature helps me clear that vessel so that I can have that purity of connection to God and hear his voice. And I don't think it's a coincidence that like you heard him so clearly, because as you've been clearing out all of this space, it's like he's ready,
Mm-hmm.
I've been here this whole time, and I think I know I can go back to all the times that I was messing up and in darkness and in despair. And there are moments where I knew God was with me the entire time. Like he was with me all along the way. I wasn't breathing life fully into that relationship, but he was there looking out for me. And I mean, there's so many bullets that I've dodged. There's so many ways in which I'm like, why was I spared? Like what in the world? Like why?
You write a book about that.
Exactly. And so I think that it's this, there's a purpose. Mm-hmm. There's a deep purpose that God wants to use you and inspire. I mean, you're already doing it, but there's something beautiful about God being with us the entire time. And there's a reason for the path, the meandering path that we've taken and where it's headed and where it's leading. I think that there's a lot of hope and light that we're uncovering. And I just relate a lot to your story.
Thanks. And yeah, I wanted to touch on the purpose part, man. The purpose part is, I feel like the most exciting part of it all, is like, I have a mission now. Mm-hmm. I have a mission. I may not know what it is fully now at the moment, but like, I know it's there. And I got a sliver of what it may look like. And it's that one tree, it's that one tree that I've been asking for. There it is. It's right there. Go there, get more information, and then see what happens next.
Yeah.
And another thing that I was going to touch on is like when you were saying the clearing space. That clearing space is probably the most challenging part right now. So clearing space for me looks like dialing back workloads making sure that I am using my time wisely instead of it's like, oh man, I'm so tired. I'm just gonna chill, veg out. Instead of like, I'm so tired, I need to get filled up by reading this or writing that or praying about this. It's using that muscle memory and reframing what my brain wants to tell me what is rest versus you can still rest, but also you can still work in your rest. You know, like there's two ways that you can look at it. But yeah, that clearing space has been really challenging for me. And having a relationship recently just break apart partially because of being asked to clear space right now has not been easy. And it's not been easy for me or my former partner or I suppose it hasn't been easy for either of us. But that clearing space is really being asked of me. And like making space doesn't sound like the kindest thing to say. But it's true that like I'm being guided that it's like, okay, it's like for the moment, it's okay to make some space there. It's gonna hurt. It's not gonna be easy. But like it's going to be okay. She's gonna be okay. And if it's meant to be, then make sure it's meant to be for you. That's probably the biggest challenge in life right now is like, okay, what's in my head and what's being channeled through me? Like what's real and what's not.
That discernment.
It's
huge.
Huge and fickle.
Yeah.
It's fickle.
Absolutely.
It's like that trickster energy, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go,
That's where that yoni comes in.
Well, because it's this, as we're transforming and transitioning into this new version of ourselves, we're literally having to reprogram like how our mind operates, our filtration system, like the neuroplasticity it's literally shaping new pathways on what it means to fire off these thoughts. You know, we're reframing the thoughts that are coming in, the emotions that we're feeling, and looking at the filtration system on what's influencing this. What have I fed energetically into this filtration system? And assessing, do I like how this has been built? And if I raise my attention, awareness, and consciousness towards those things that I've built this filter with, well, then I can consciously reconstruct it to something that is more aligned and fueled by the source of God once we bring him into our lives and the ultimate life force energy and the spoken truth, right? Of that's the most true thing that I can connect to. And then from that place, build my filtration system, which ultimately I think is the bridge between what we're divine connection to thoughts. How am I synthesizing everything to manifestation in life? And being able to rewire that filtration system is tricky and hard because our body and our mind are giving us information that sometimes can be conflicting and sometimes might be the hard thing. But I think the discernment component, especially once we connect with God, it becomes easier to operate from that, to feel that tangible difference. Like I can feel that. Like I know this is going to be hard, but I can feel like that's truth. And the more we connect to that and the more we walk in obedience of like, I'm going to do that hard thing. I don't really want to remove myself from this relationship, even though I know it's not the most healthy for me to engage in at the moment. Can I trust what is? I remember in church, like being convicted of a few things and like not liking what God was telling me, right? Like, really? I have to stop being with this woman? Or I have to drop this habit or this pattern? And my mind is so good, that trickster energy, that coyote is so good at convincing me to not, like, I can convince myself, but here's this like middle ground. Here's this loophole. And I'm learning that there's no loophole. I can run from it, but ultimately I still feel that in my heart, and I've got to pay the price and deal with the choices that I'm choosing to make sooner or later. Because once you feel into what God's communicating to you, you can't turn the other way. Like, you might be able to like bury it a little bit, but it comes back to the surface.
Totally. And I feel like those loopholes are constructed for us, by us, because I was having this conversation earlier about free will, and that how God gives us free will. And he gives us the free will to create those loopholes for ourselves, so we can see what it's like to go out on our own and to fail, and to realize that it's not, hopefully come back and realize that it's like, we can't just blame it on God, that we have that free will, so we can create those loopholes to talk us out of anything. We can talk ourselves out of anything, but God's like, okay, that's how you want to go. Like, you can go in that direction you want. He gave you that free will. You create that loophole. You keep telling yourself that. Yeah. Keep telling yourself that that's the way that's going to work out. And if you want to come back to me, I'll be here. Yeah. So that's funny how that coyote came.
I know. Seriously.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, man.
I also wanted to say that filtration system, man. That was a really good point, is that we all have that filter system. And it's like any other filter, man. You got to clean it. You got to clean it. And you have, like, everybody's going to be different the way that they have to clean it. Yeah. And man, I can't tell you when the last time I cleaned mine. And I really need some more vinegar and just like some bleach even. Just clean that out, because who knows what kind of stuff is in that.
Yeah. Is there within your mind, this thought pattern or negative belief or something that's plagued you, that has been reoccurring either through life or just recently, that
you've been in my house this morning?
You care to speak to?
Yeah. Goodness. Yeah, the negative belief that I have, that I've had since a child, is that I harm everybody around me. Is that I cause harm to everyone around me. Everyone that comes into my field that I get close to, I'm going to ultimately let down. That belief has been in my field since I can remember. I have the awareness of it, but I just actually recently today, I'm like, it's time to like change that. And I've tried to change it, but like, you can't be like, oh, I changed it once, it's gone, gone forever. Like, you have to like actively work at that negative belief, because it's going to be there. It's like alcoholism for me. It's like, it's always right behind me. It's always waiting for me to like say, all right, you can do it once, you can believe that one, you can believe that this time. And then once I do, it just goes into this downward spiral. But yeah, the belief that I cause harm to everyone in my life, it is such a powerful belief. And it actually just came into play with the relationship that just dissolved. And it's not something that I want to hang on to, but it's something that continues to show its head all the time. So that is one of my biggest investments that I'm going for. It's like, you got to clear it again. It's lodged in that filter.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've been able to like follow that thread? And is there a memory, or where do you think that
oh boy
came from?
Man, that came from early childhood, probably with my brother, because every time that we'd be playing when we were young, and he would accidentally hurt me or inadvertently hurt me or like intentionally hurt me, but I would get his ass in trouble every time. And then my parents would just work on him, you know, like he would get in all the trouble. And then I remember this time where like that changed, and I was so upset that I had done that to him, that it got that bad that like I caused him emotional and spiritual and physical and mental harm because of my action. And that actually led him down a really, really, really rough path in life. And I've held that belief that like I was a potential cause to that. Although we're all influencing everybody's lives and everything like that, I held that belief that like I made that all manifest for him. His challenges in life were partially because of me, that I kept getting him in trouble. And then he had issues with my parents. And then that led him to this, XYZ. And so here he is now. So yeah, that certainly had a big impact on me when I was a little kid. That stuff. That was a deep one.
Yeah, absolutely. How does that look within your body? Like, what do you feel whenever you're in that space? Is it like guilt, shame?
I've done a lot of work around that. On that particular instance, yes. But like the instance that doesn't pertain to my brother, that when that belief shows up, it's a lot of shame. It's a lot of shame. It's a lot of guilt. A lot of self-judgment. Like, God, I fucking did it again? Oh, man. Like, but since I've been in this drought, in this desert, like I let that beat the hell out of me. You know, I didn't use a tool that I have. Like I got 1,000 tools to use. I didn't use one of them, you know? And so I would just let it spiral me. And so that spiral just kept going down and down, deeper depression, and finding ways to outlets to try to do that, things to try to fill that depression. Yeah, it's that shame and guilt has been something I've been grappling with a lot. And I just try to hold myself to like this ridiculous standard. And I have so much weight on my shoulders at times. It's like, man, you gotta give yourself a break. You gotta chill out. So,
yeah. Are you able to fully soak in and recognize like progress that you make and your successes and the positive qualities, or is that a struggle for you to really feel the depths of those things?
Well, when I feel success and I know progress, like when I've actively used tools or used trainings or used education to get me to a place of success, I realize it. You know, I see it and I want more of it, you know, because I have that addictive pattern in my body that's like, oh, that feels great. I want more of that. I want more knowledge in my brain, or I want more experiences like that. So when I have that, I just need the opportunity to get that ball rolling.
Yeah.
So once that ball's rolling, it's good. But when I don't have it rolling, boy, it's hard to get it started.
Yeah.
But I do have those feelings in my body that guide me to wanting more of that success.
What does success look like to you now, today? And has that changed from previous maybe ideations of what success looks and feels like?
Oh yeah. The time where I felt most successful, societally speaking, is when I was making the most money I've ever made in my job. I had an awesome camper. I had a sweet ass boat. I had a great house, great cars. And we were going camping every weekend. We were going to a new spot all the time. And we were just living life. Okay. And that was also when I was in the depths of my drinking, because I was so happy, you know? And so like every time that I'd have the chance, I would be drinking because I'm like, I made it. Oh man, life is so good. And then like I would use that as my crutch. And I was like, as long as I'm making X amount of money and we're doing X amount of activities, I'm successful. I'm good. I don't need to go anymore. I can make more money. Sure. That's where I'm going to go. I'm going to just keep making more money, and we're going to get a better boat. We're going to go more vacations, and that's how I quantified success. And I understand that that's probably a lot of, how a lot of people do that these days. Success has changed for me in the level of integrity that I have, that I know that I have. The deeper feeling of God in my body, like how deeply I can be in touch with God in my body, how clearly I can hear guidance. That's a big one. It's like, I used to be extremely in tune with what I could hear and what I could feel and and then the direction I could go. And then when that got all shut off, I felt just like biggest loser, biggest failure. I'm like, how could I let that go? That was like the epitome of everything that I wanted in my life, just to be able to hear that inner voice. And so now being able to hear that a little bit more is like, oh, okay, you're on a right path. Like you can hear things and you can see things a little bit more clearly. Like that's an essence of success for me. And seeing goals being realized, making a goal and having that come to fruition. I don't think there's any bigger feeling of success in my body than that. And I'm slowly getting back on that track. I used to hate goals, used to hate intentions of creating that for you. I'm like, I can't write this down. Everything's changing so much all the time. So now that I have that, just those little victories are like my measuring of success these days.
I love that. How do you go about like creating these goals? Do you sit in stillness and get really clear with yourself? Is it through discernment on certain interactions, or what's the guidance, I guess, in the metric for creating those goals?
Boy, it has changed for sure. I used to write them down a lot. I used to vision board back when we did that a lot. But now it's about what turns my heart on. It's like, I'll make this example. When I am in a large group that has open discussion, okay, and they're going around and people are talking and everything, when I feel my heart start to beat and like I get like a little like sweaty palms or whatever, like that's my indication that I need to talk. And so like I speak up. It's the same feeling. It's like when maybe I'll see like that mountain and I'm like, it's different than that mountain. And I get like a feeling that I'm like, oh, I want to summit that mountain, and like something stirs inside of me. Then like that is like that feeling of like, that's the direction I want to go. Yeah. Okay. And one more example, like yesterday, I was having a deep conversation with somebody, and I didn't really know where it was going. I didn't really know what like the root of the conversation was until I like felt it in my heart. I started tearing up. Like, oh, there's my truth tears. There's something here. There's something here. And then I felt it. So it's kinesthetic learning? Kinesthetic learning. So I felt it in my body. I'm like, I need to go deeper. Something's really there that I need to explore. So kinesthetically, I suppose, is how I feel and follow the goals.
That's beautiful. Yeah. And I resonate with that in terms of like, there's a heart resonance. The body's intelligence is like, I'm still unpacking because my mind is a lot of times, or in the past, has derailed my connection to that, exactly what you're describing, which is the truth, and our truth. And I think our heart frequency is the same frequency that we connect to God. And so that's the language that's spoken, and that's the bridge to me. And so
that's good.
if we, the more that I attune to that heart resonance that you're speaking of and can train my body to feel into that, it doesn't have to make sense to me initially in my mind. It's that trust that I build over time of just like, that's the truth. I don't know why I want to summit that mountain, but that's what, or I don't know why I want to talk to this person and ask them for time, but there's something there. So, you know,
Sure is, apparently, huh?
it's powerful, and it's guidance. And, you said it so well, describing that trajectory and that guidance. And yeah, it hits in a special spot for me. And I think in regards to a lot of people today regulating their nervous system, this is a key part of the equation of tapping back into the body's intelligence and that connection to God, to be able to find that peace, to find that joy, and to get out of that loop and spiral that of thought and pattern and emotion that I can so easily identify with. And our body has the ability, in terms of all the tools that God gave us, to listen to the cues that our body's giving us. And that's our nervous system. And so I don't think it's not by happen chance that anxiety and depression and suicide rates and all of these things and chronic illnesses are so high. It's because we've prioritized thinking mind in society, and that's what we reward in terms of what are we producing, here in the West. It's so mind driven that we forget the body's intelligence and the spiritual connection to God. And so to me, that's what I've been unpacking and exploring, is tapping back into this body's intelligence and that bridge to God and truth and source. So I think you hit it like right on the head. And
I love how you said that the heart frequency is the same, that matches the same as the frequency from above. It's so spot on. It's like it is that bridge. It's that bridge that goes all the way from the bottom all the way up. And that was a really cool realization for me when you said that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. In terms of, you said you have a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm curious, she's 11 years old. When you first had your daughter, what changed within you? What perspective and how did your life change? And fast forward to today as well, what does this mean as a father and a man? What does this relationship mean to you?
When my daughter was born, she immediately started making me work for her love, for her affection, for her just desire to want to be around me. And it was not easy. It was not easy because with her mom and me combined into this little child, like her power was so great. Like it was so, and she didn't know how to contain it. She was just a little baby. She didn't know how to use it. So it was so big and so vast. And I immediately went into like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And when I was younger, when she was first born, I was in such resistance to everybody's advice. I wanted to do it myself. I wanted to create this relationship the way that I wanted to do it. And they wanted me to read books. I'm like, I'm not going to read any books like that. Everybody's different, and that led to a big strain in our relationship. And I was so closed off. And with me being so closed off, I created a stressed and strained relationship between me and my daughter for years. And that is still something that I'm grappling with, something that was really hard something that is really hard to accept, as well as something that is still being repaired today. So, how it changed me is it actually made me regress. I actually regressed as a man for a long time. And all the women in my life wanted me to do was rise up. And I went the opposite direction. And that is something that I have to live with, and something that I can also change. But that's that limiting belief. It got reinforced. I cause harm to everybody around me. You know, I'm causing harm to her. I'm causing harm to her. What can I do? Okay, I'm just going to bury myself into work. As long as I'm making the money that can bring in, that they can survive off of, then everybody's going to be fine. Not rocking the boat. You know, like I'm not making anything better, but I'm not making anything worse. So I had that mindset that is actually a generational mindset. You know, not just a generational with my family, it's a generational within all men. You know, like we're the providers. We only work. And then the woman takes care of everything else. And that's not the generation that my daughter was born into. The generation of women that are like, I need you in this. I can't do this alone. I need you as my partner. I chose you to be my partner here, and you're not fulfilling your obligations to this. And I personally made it difficult on everybody with me being so close-minded to advice and support that it was exactly the way that it had to be. But yeah, that it was really difficult for a long time, and I had to soften with time, and I still have times of like blow up, but I'm finally coming around to like, okay, I need help from God to show me how to be a better father and better man. So I didn't have that spiritual support. I was reaching and grasping for everywhere else, but where I knew to find it. So here I am. I'm in this whole new chapter of life, and my daughter is actually the one that wanted to start going back to church. She's the one that brought us back.
Wow.
Yep. And if it wasn't for her, I don't know if I'd be here talking about the things I'm talking about.
Wow. That's amazing. What a gift.
Yeah.
No, you go ahead.
The sermon that we had today was about legacy and about how we're going to pass on the things that we're learning about faith to our children in the next generation. And being able to hear that message and to know that like I still have a chance to make things right, instead of like, man, you fucked it up and it's not gonna get any better because that's how it started, you know, and this is how it is now. But like, it gave me some hope to know that I can change the outcome of everything now.
In terms of legacy, what does that mean to you? What does that look like to you at this moment in time? That's a big one.
It is a big one. You know, I was thinking of that, you know, like on a microcosm societal community scale, like my legacy is like, I've been at that studio for 10 years, pouring my heart out every time that I went up to go teach. And, making sure that I gave it 100%, even when I wasn't feeling 100%. Every time I walked through those doors, I would always drop and change to be, not change, but like just embody this, like, okay, like you're on. It's not like I have to be on, I want to be on. So the legacy in that regard is like, people are going to remember me. People are going to remember me being there, and maybe I touched their hearts, maybe I didn't. But like, I'm still going to be remembered in that studio as someone who gave a shit and gave it his all.
Mm-hmm.
So legacy in family is like passing down, and it's changed. It's all just changed recently. It's passing down the ability to show my daughter that there's something else that she can ground into. There's something else that she can count on that is never going to leave her, because people will leave her. People will leave all of us. They will come in and out of our lives randomly, and some people are going to touch our lives deeper than others, and then they still may leave. God's not going to leave. God's not going to be someone that's going to desert you. If you want to leave, it is your choice to leave. It is your choice and not his. So I want to be able to leave the legacy for her that's something that she can count on and depend on. And it's also her choice to follow that now. And it's also my choice to want to be someone who gives that to her. Mm-hmm. You know, I used to think that legacy was all about property and money and making sure that she's going to be secure and okay when I leave. Also important, but not the most important thing. Mm-hmm. It's like having her believe in her father, even if I'm not there, that I made the biggest effort that I could have while I was there with mm-hmm. her. And any other kid that comes into my life for that matter. You know, it's the next generation there's always been another generation behind the generation that's now. Mm-hmm. And it's up to all of us to leave impacts on that generation. So it's like just doing better than the last one, mm-hmm. I guess, is like a summary of that. Doing better than the last generation that was before.
What are the things, ideas or concepts or lessons that you are aiming to instill in your daughter that maybe you didn't have or you didn't get to experience whenever you were her age or as a child?
That she can definitely fall back on a solid community, whether in church or whether not in church, that there is something that she can always come back to if she gets lost. I was raised Catholic, and I never felt like I could come back to the Catholic Church. And that's just, a judgment that I had. Like I didn't feel that like that was for me. That place, that community was for me. I'm not saying that it's not for everybody, but it just felt like it wasn't for me, that I didn't feel like I could come back to that place. But in the Christian faith, I feel like that's something that you can always come back to. You can find us anywhere. You can find community anywhere. I want her to know that, like, no matter how hard it gets, that she can find a safe place in there, and in prayer, and in family. That's been really challenging, is to like have her remember that she can come back to family, that we're safe. Because there's a lot of times I felt I made it not safe, mm-hmm. and those are deep wounds and regrets, but also things that I know that are just like part of life. I want to let her know that money isn't everything. I want to let her know that never give up on your creativity. Mm-hmm. That creativeness, I play guitar and I write music, and mm-hmm. I don't play it for anybody. Mm-hmm. I don't play any of my music for anyone. And it's like my journal. Every time I play a song, it's like it's for me, mm-hmm. I played maybe a handful of songs to a handful of people throughout 20 years of playing guitar. And that's okay with me, I've written lots of songs, and I play them only for me. And I don't know where I'd be without those.
Mm-hmm.
So I never gave up. I never gave up on that creative aspect. And she's so creative. And I want her to just, because we can always go back to that creative spot because everybody's unique. Everybody's got a different hobby or something that they're really good at.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
What does the creation process look like for you in terms of, like, how does it strike? Where you get the inspiration? Like, what is that? Because it is kind of like a wave I've experienced. What is the creation?
It's the same thing as the goal.
Yeah.
It's the kinesthetic feeling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that you brought those up because I haven't really been able to put my finger on, like, how do I create goals or how do I create songs? But that's exactly it. It's the flash of insight. And when it comes to me, like the first word of a song or the first letter of a journal passage or a poem or whatever like that, it's like clicks in the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Frequency turns on.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I love that. Have you found at times like your creative process or your relationship to your creations being blocked?
Oh yeah.
What do you do to, like...
I don't force it.
You don't force it?
Although I should.
Well, I mean, sometimes there's like going on a walk out in nature or, climbing up a mountain. I don't know. Some people have devices and I was curious. Yeah.
I don't force it. But like I said, there's times where I should. Because when I do, like, say, like, man, I haven't written in my journal in forever. There's exercises that you do. You just like, I don't know what to write. I see a tree. There's a cloud. Mm-hmm. There's like, you just start looking at things or listening or like, and you start writing them down. And then you're like, oh, that tree is lime green and those birds sound like violins or whatever like that. And then it starts to evolve and you're like, oh, there it is. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like you're priming the pump. You know what I mean? And I need to get back into doing that more often. It's like those tools that are all here in my closet that I have that closet locked and I don't know where the key's at.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's, this reminds me of this book called The Artist's Way. And it's about, I loved how this woman, the author, writes about this. It's courting our inner artist. Like, we are made in the image of God, the ultimate creator. We are creators. Like, if we're made in his image, we're creators. We're meant to create and breathe things into this life. And so a lot of times our relationship with our inner artist can be wounded or fractured at certain points in times. The constriction can block off that natural flow. And so courting in the form of taking ourselves on dates to prompt that inner creative, to soften the it invokes that inner creator to be like, ooh, I want to step out. Like, how could I not? Like, I turned Pink Floyd on and I laid a blanket down and watched the clouds go by in the sky. Like, something like that can inspire. And that's getting in touch with the feminine side.
Mm-hmm. That's that feminine courtship to yourself and allowing that softness. So you're filing down the edges of like your sharpness and your that masculinity that can sometimes be, because the masculine form is it's more about structure. It's not about creation. The femininity is about creativeness. It's about the feminine body is a portal of creation. And then what you're saying, just like that, you're softening. You're like, man, I'm just gonna put on some music. I'm gonna like pour myself a glass of wine. Like, that's where, and that's kind of where the my in touchness with teaching comes in. Like, I can get in touch with that feminine, and that's where the creation comes in, and that's where I'm able to speak in that creative energy. That's really cool little connection you just brought there.
Yeah, I thought it was profound, and it has exercises like at the beginning called the morning pages, and it's about writing from a stream of consciousness, not thinking about what you're going to write, not rereading anything that you're writing, It's literally letting it flow. And it could be, I don't know what to write today. I'm looking at a tree, you know, and it's that taking out that inner critic, that skeptic, that critic that gets in the way and constricts the flow of creative energy that wants to come through us.
Yeah.
And I know for myself, that's a big one in terms of that inner critic a lot of times stops me from taking that action. Because I want it to be perfect, or it's kind of like you're saying, like, no, there's a time for rest, but there's also a time for me to take action and hold myself accountable and know that this is a coping mechanism, and can I transcend through this inner critic that is preventing me from rising up to be the man that I know deep down I'm meant to be, and how I'm supposed to show up for my community, but a lot of times can cause me to freeze.
That accountability aspect is absolutely huge. Like, even you and I right now are holding each other accountable with, you know, things that we're saying and like the processes of our lives and everything. And I feel like that's so important for us as men, is to like have other men to be able to hold us accountable. And I feel like when that happens, because it's happening. It is absolutely happening on a grander scale, and I feel like that's what all the energy is happening right now, and like everything's getting really mixed,
stirred up. Yeah,
exactly, really stirred up and everything. And us as men are like coming back to each other, like, hey, yeah, shit's crazy out there. Like, what's going on in your world? You know, being able to hold each other accountable, I feel like is a huge portion to this like revival that we're all having right now. It's like, this is intimate.
Yeah.
There's femininity to this, and
totally.
Also
structure and yeah.
Like, and we got above and below, and we got the heart center below here, and we got God above us, and nature all around us.
Yeah.
We're channeling this right now.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I love what you said about like holding each other accountable, like having men in our lives, like strong men who will hold us accountable. They know what we're capable of, and they're not afraid to speak the truth, you know, and hold that in love, but also like not sugarcoat it and just be like, you know, I'm not holding myself to the standard that they see as my potential, or I'm not holding up to my word. And that is the word, man. It is. It's like, that is pivotal. And also, I think what I'm finding today is that is important to hold true. And it's also important to be able to go to these places of intimate conversation where, as men, we can own up and be like, I'm struggling, you know, like it's tough for me. I'm going through a hard time. I'm anxious. Like, every time that I be real and navigate that inner world of emotion that a lot of us have cast to the side and be like, no way, you know, like I'm not gonna, that's weak for me to feel these things, right? And, or I don't want to share that with anybody. And for my nieces, I have 2 nieces, and they feel like daughters to me. So this is the only way that I can relate. And it's different, right? Like, I get to go home and when it gets really tough.
Yeah.
But there have been these moments where they're navigating big emotions. And I know as a kid, when I would be experiencing these big emotions, like in my family, it was notoriously challenging for us to address those big things and to talk about those big things and to let them air out and be like, this is truth. Like, this is just what it is. And not hold judgment over those things that we're feeling, but hold the space for it. And through that repression, it's been notoriously hard for me to navigate my inner world and my emotions. And so I've leaned on substances. And so I've gone through this dark period of my life trying to suppress and run from those things that I didn't want to feel. And so with my nieces, when they're navigating these big emotions, I'm like, tell me about it. I'm listening. I'm like, these are valid. Please, like, share what you're feeling, because they are real. And in me doing that and sitting with my nieces, I feel the healing come shower me and creates this spaciousness, and I can let go of this old thought pattern because I'm giving my nieces, and in that moment I'm giving myself what I wish that I had in those moments in time. And so as men, I think the more that we can tactfully navigate the space of emotion and come to each other and be like, it's okay what you're feeling, man. I'm here for you. It allows us to expand what it means, I think, to be a man today, which is true power, I feel like. When we can hold that resonance of what we're feeling, we can hold it and we can feel it and we can express it and we can navigate it. That way our partners feel, the women in our lives, whether it's our daughters or our nieces or our wives or our mothers or whatever, they feel that steadfastness and can feel that, hey, they're feeling the depths of it.
Yeah.
It's the unexpressed emotion that I feel like as men, it becomes dangerous. And those men, I feel like it becomes about power, and then that dynamic shifts into something that's corrosive and straying from the path that is of love and from unity and connection. And I think that's what we're being called to today.
Yeah. I firmly believe that as men walking through this generation, and I try to tap in and like, is this being presumptuous or is this being, pompous? But I feel like the men right now in this generation that are on this earth right now, like, are being called to be the chain breakers.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're the ones that are supposed to be like really shaking up the old guard, mm-hmm. and there's so much information out online and things like that of like the men that are doing it. So like we're in this time period where it's like the easiest ever just to spread the information mm-hmm. of like, it's time to wake up. It's not business as usual anymore as men, as it has been for centuries before us. Like it's shifting. And right now we're in the middle of the shift. So like get on board or find a way to get on board.
Yeah.
Just do that. Don't try to run from it.
Yeah. It's inspiration through love, right?
Yeah,
like, totally. and by example, I think, because it's, I feel this with when you want so badly to change somebody or to like, don't you see it this way? And you want the best for this person and your intentions are great, but you can't change this. I mean, I know I can relate as an alcoholic and as somebody who struggled with substances and addiction. I mean, is there anything else that like is on your heart that your body, mind, or spirit that wants to come through? And
I just think that there needs to be more open conversation like this.
Yeah,
it's safe, and a lot of things came through me that felt like, I don't know if I could have put the words to it myself if I wouldn't have had some, mm-hmm. like it would have been different talking to a woman.
Yeah.
Being able to talk to a man, especially someone who is, making it as open and safe as you have been. Mm-hmm. There was just things that were just coming through me that I don't know if I would have come to the realization without you.
Yeah.
So if there's anything that we need in this world more, is like more men that are holding each other accountable. I feel like, the tail end of that was just like the nail in the coffin.
It was.
So it's just
100%.
Summarizing the whole thing is like men holding men accountable. And I look forward to seeing how, personally for me, how this evolves and how I can hold myself accountable to the things that I was saying. That's going to be like the, like the make or break for me. Mm-hmm. It's like, can I listen to actually the things that I was saying?
Yeah.
So I can't wait to.
Well, I feel, just as a reflection, like there's a heart, like that thing that you were talking about in terms of creation and goal setting. Like I feel as if to me, what I felt in my heart was that was where the transmission was coming from, and what was being spoken through you. It wasn't this place of overanalyzing or intellect. It was like, what am I feeling? And like expressing that. So that's what I heard through our conversation. So
yeah, that was really, really powerful to really drop into the way that I do create and the way that I do feel, and that being an empath doesn't have to be, it can be both and, because it's really challenging at times. But like that feeling that I have inside myself that I feel personally, that's my tree. That's my next tree. So that's the one I got to go to.
Yeah, man.
So open up, listen, follow, and be aware of the sights, sounds, synchronicities, just the guidance. That's what I'm calling for.
Yeah.
I'm calling in.
How does commitment, and people holding you accountable, like accountability, look in your life right now? Like moving forward, do you have the people and pieces in place within the community to where you feel like you have that ability to be empowered in that movement?
I think so. I got a really awesome coach that I use right now, who's extremely in tune and is a man. So he's fantastic. I just started working with him recently, and having that support system that I can go to is extremely important. I didn't have that before. Also, the larger base community of the church and larger base community of the yoga studio, as well as me stepping back into my passions and what I want to be creating as a future goal and future whole for me is important. So having those little pieces of structure in place right now feel really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that, man. Yeah, I guess for our listeners, like, is there any piece of that last tether and thread that you care to share, or do you feel pretty complete?
Isolation, personal isolation can be good. Can be good for the soul. Don't stay there. Don't stay there. Because there's a lot of good people out in the world that have a lot to offer and a lot to give. So like moderation.
Yeah.
Moderation between community and isolation. Yeah, I was isolated for a long time. And I have patterns in my life where I've done that continually. All important. Very important. They're like my little vision quests. But I've always found my way back. To find your way back.
To community.
Yeah.
To each other. To co-regulation. And accountability. And love, man. Unity. That's it. I feel that in a world in which we're moving towards more separation and divisiveness and grabbing at certain ideas and fitting within our pockets, it's like what we've been speaking of, I believe, is coming back into that heart-centered space of connection. And I am optimistic of this other way. This course correction in terms of what it means to be stewards of the land and protect, this planet, God's creation, and, have a harmonious relationship with not only each other, with ourselves, with each other, with our community, and with, where we're inhabiting. And when you spoke about your vision of what's most alive for you, like that's there, dude. Yeah, it's I feel that. And so I can't wait to see you breathe that into this world and we need that. We need that in the direction that we're moving. So
thanks, bud.
Yeah, man. Thanks for taking the time to
this is awesome.
Get together. I just knew there was a lot there to unpack. And I respect you a lot. And in the short time that I've known you and am inspired by you, and there was a certain thing that I can recognize within you. And I wanted to hear your story and honor that. And because there's a lot of light that is just erupting from you. And so I have no doubt that the path that you're walking is just going to continue to unfold into beautiful manifestations and the impact that you have on others' lives. So I was wanting to kind of highlight that because I think that your story and your voice are one that I want to highlight and I want to be heard. So I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, this is great. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Of course. Cool, dude.
Oh, yeah.